Everybody's been slow today. Logging in late. So he turned his camera. All right. Now, what we're going to be working on today is I told you all last week, this week we're reviewing, we're quizzing, we're testing over chapter 8. Okay, we're reviewing, we're quizzing, and we're testing. So what I'm doing first is I've got some stuff up here on the board that is reviewing. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to go over these that I have here behind me. And it would probably be a good idea if you do try to write them down on a sheet of paper so you have them when you're working on the quiz as examples. Because I'm going to tell you, we're going to go over something and I'm going to say, okay, this is what you do for like number 1 and number 2 on the quiz. So you can match them up like I did when y'all were here in class. Remember, I'd have examples on the board and I'd tell you, okay, this one's like number 4, this one's like number 2. Same concept, except you'll have to have it on your paper because you can't see it in the quiz at the same time. So, okay. So you can see I've got 4 circles up here. The first circle deals with our basics that we started with first when we were talking about our angles with our arcs and our measurements. Okay. I'm going over that part first, then I'm going to have you do the quiz problems that go with these examples. And then I'll do other examples, and I'll have you do the quiz problems that go with those examples. But this way we can get through it all together. So we're still going to be doing our quiz, but you all aren't going to go through and do it on ProProfs. You're going to be doing it here in class with me. So what you're going to have to do is when I'm having you work on it, you're going to be writing your answers down on your paper. Number 1A, you work it out, you got your answer. Number 1B, you work it out, you have your answer. 1C, whatever, okay? When we're done, you either need to take me a picture of that where I can actually see it. Some of you all, when you try to send work, it's like, and all fuzzy and like, here's paper, y'all take a picture. And I'm supposed to read that and grade it. Okay, that's what your picture looks like. No, okay, a lot of you have done well and it's very clear. You hold it up close, it's clear. Oh, look, I can read all the words filled in. Okay, so that's what you'll need to do. You can either do that or you can just type it in an email and just type in 1A equals whatever number, 1B equals whatever number, 1C equals whatever number. 2A equals, and you can just type it in an email, 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, whatever it was. Just type them on there and send it to me. So either way, if you want to just take a picture of your work, so I can see your work, and then that way if you just made a mistake somewhere, I can give you partial credit, or you can just type the answers, but if there's no work there and the answer's just wrong, then there's no way I can give you partial credit. But those are your 2 options for how you can turn it in. Okay. So, and like I said, I don't know how far we'll get with it today. We'll get through as far as we can today. But if we don't finish today, then, because this is what we're doing this week. We're reviewing, we're quizzing, we're reviewing, then we're testing. Okay, so we'll just work through however much we can get through it. So, starting with my first circle that I have up here. Okay, this is called circle M because you named the circle by its center. So that's circle M. Okay, it has some different angles marked on here. It has this angle here, which would be a central angle. So angle A and B is a central angle. Central angle means its vertex is at the center of the circle. So that would be an example of a central angle. This angle, its vertex is on the circle. So angle DBC, I said D, but I didn't write it. Angle DBC is an inscribed angle. Inscribed angle means it's actually has the vertex on the circle. Okay, So we have central angles where the vertex is the center, and we have inscribed angles whose vertex is on the circle itself, on the actual circle going around. Now we have two things that we're using for these, okay? The first one is a central angle is equal to the measure of its arc. So if the arc is 50 degrees, the angle is 50 degrees. If the angle's 20 degrees, then its arc would be 20 degrees. So it goes either way, whichever one they give you. If they give you the arc, you know it's the same as the central angle. If they give you the central angle, you know it's the same as the arc. Those are always equal to each other, okay? So we already said that angle A and B is a central angle. So if you look at my picture, A and B here is a central angle, and it was given that its degrees was 75 degrees. So if it's 75 degrees, its arc, AB, will also be 75 degrees because the central angle is equal to its arc, okay? The central angle is equal to its arc. So if this angle is 75 degrees, its arc, AB, is 75 degrees, okay? Now, we said angle DBC was what we call an inscribed angle. It's an angle whose vertex is on the circle. So right here, we're not on a page, Pedro. I'm just doing examples on the board for your quiz. Okay?
Oh, okay, got you.
See, its vertex is on the circle. An inscribed angle is equal to half of its arc. Okay, the inscribed angle is equal to half of its arc. So the angle is 35, so that's equal to half of the arc. So if I have 35 equals half of the arc, how do I find out what the arc is? What's the opposite of dividing something in half? Multiplying it by 2. So I'm going to multiply by 2. So arc DC here would have to be 70 degrees because I had to take the angle and multiply it by 2 to get the arc. Okay, so this one we said was 75. This one was 35 times 2, or 70, because the arc is equal to half, the angle is equal to half. Okay, now the next thing that we got to do is I also wanted to know the measure of arc AD and the measure of arc BC. Now, to find those, first of all, I have to know what this is right here. What is a segment that goes through the center of the circle all the way across?
Well, I have no idea.
Okay, on here. This segment, segment DB that goes through the center of the circle is called the diameter. This is something that you all started like elementary school, diameter.
She said she typed it in, but it's still not working.
Okay, because if she had the right meeting ID, because you all had to do the meeting ID and then the password, right? Geo?
Yeah.
Geo.
She said it's saying it's wrong.
Did she double check her meeting ID number? Because and she has to make sure the G, E, and O are all capital and the W and K are lowercase too for the password.
Amateurs.
Here eventually. All right. But DB is what we call a diameter. It divides the circle in half. What is half of the circle called?
Semicircle.
A semicircle. So we should know a semicircle equals 180 degrees because a full circle equals
360.
360 degrees, right? So from D all the way around here to B is half the circle. So we know it equals 180. So if I know this arc from A to B was 75, to find from A to D, I can just subtract it from what? 180, because that's half the circle. I'm going to take 180 minus 75, and get that arc's going to be what?
105.
105 degrees. So arc AD is 105 degrees. All right. Now, if I want BC, we have to use what we know. You can do it two different ways. If this half is 180, I know this bottom also has to equal what?
180.
180. So for that one, I would take 180 minus
70.
So 180 minus 70 equals
110.
110. Now the other way that we could have done it is we know the entire circle is 360. So you could have done 360 minus the 105 plus 75 plus 70, and it would have still given you the 110. So either way would work, okay? Sometimes on these, finding different arc or angle measures, there are more than one way to get them. Renaya, was she having any luck?
I don't know. She didn't text back.
Okay. Maybe she went to double check her number. I don't know. All right, we'll see if she logs on in a minute. So questions on central angle versus inscribed angle. Central angle, vertex is at the center. Inscribed angle, vertex is on the circle. Okay. Now, on this inscribed angle, it was made by two chords, or the diameter, which is a type of chord, and another chord. On my second circle that I have over here, I'm going to roll over. There we go. On my second circle that I have over here, it's the same way. Okay? But it's a secant and a tangent that make the inscribed angle. It's still an inscribed angle because the vertex is that point of tangency there on the circle. So if I want to know angle QUT, this angle right here, then that's going to be equal to half its arc because it's still an inscribed angle. So for angle QUT, I'm going to take half of 210 and get 105 degrees for my angle. Because it's still an inscribed angle, it just looks different.
She said it's still not working.
But just tell her, go over there and no, just okay, just let her know. I'll email her the link later. But I mean, if she's double checked the number and the password, then it has to be something with maybe her internet connection or something then. I don't know. Well, I'll figure something out. She can still see stuff. All right. So we found angle QUT because it was still in a type of an inscribed angle. It's equal to half of its arc. The arc from here to here is 210, so half of 210 was 105. Now to find the measure of arc QU is from here to here. So if from here to here was 210, and I want to know this part, I'm going to do similar to what I talked about over here. I know the entire circle equals how many degrees?
360.
360. So I'm going to take 360 minus 210 to get my arc QU, which will be
150.
150 degrees. Now, like I said, these that I'm doing them because they're similar to what you're going to have on the quiz. So I can tell you, okay, this one's like number 2A. This one's like 3C or whatever, okay? Like I said, I'm trying to still think in the back of my head why it's not letting her on. All right. So we've got those two things, right?
Yep.
A central angle, it's equal to its arc. If it's a semicircle, we know it equals 180 degrees. The full circle equals 360 degrees. If it's an inscribed angle, we know it's equal to half its arc. Okay? Now, the others that we did, and you all did pretty good with these when we were going through them in the book, is when the lines, the secants intersect inside the circle and when they intersect outside the circle. Remember, if they're on the circle, it's an inscribed angle, so it's half the arc. If they intersect on the inside of the circle, it's half the sum of the intercepted arcs. If they intersect outside the circle, it's half the difference of the intercepted arcs. So if it's on the inside, it's the sum. If it's on the outside, it's the difference. Okay, if it's on the inside, it's the sum. If it's on the outside, it's the difference. So here I have two secants, secant MO and NP, that intersect at point Q. And I want to know the measure of angle MQP. MQP is this angle right here. So the way that I can find the measure of angle MQP is I look at the two arcs it intercepts. It intercepts this arc, which was 86 degrees, and this arc, which was 70 degrees. So if it's an angle inside on the interior of the circle, its measure is equal to half the sum of the intercepted arcs. Sum means I add them together. So I'm going to have half of 86 plus 70. So I add 86 and 70 together. 156.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. And then half of 156.
78.
78 degrees. So the angle inside is equal to 78 degrees. Now remember, if this angle is 78 degrees, angle NQO will also be 78 degrees. Because they're vertical angles, they're opposite of each other, they're going to be congruent. They intercept the same pair of arcs, so their measure is going to be the same. Okay? If I wanted to know the measure of this one, I know that they have to make a straight line, which equals how much? 180. So I could take 180 minus the 78 and find what that one would be. Okay, but I don't think you have to do that on the quiz, so that's what you need to focus on, is just those. If it's an angle on the inside, it's half the sum. If it's an angle on the outside of the circle, the lines intersect on the outside of the circle, then it's half the difference. Sum means add, difference means we're going to
Subtract.
subtract. Okay? So when we go to do this, on this one it's a little bit different because I gave you the angle. I'm looking for the arc DF. So this is what I'm looking for. Okay? I know if this angle is 50, I know this one is 50. So it's still using these two arcs here, but it's half the difference of those two arcs. I just don't know what this one is. That's what I got to find. So I'm going to have 1/2 of 140 minus my question mark. That's what I'm looking for. But I know that's equal to how many degrees for the angle? 50 degrees for the angle. So we have a little equation we have to kind of solve on this one. So I have to do distributive property. So half of 140 is 70 minus half of my question mark is equal to 50. Remember, your goal is to get what you're looking for, your question mark or your X or your Y, whatever letter you want to use by itself. So I got to move 70 to the other side. If it's positive, to move it to the other side, I subtract it. $50 minus 70 is negative 20. Now, I had a negative 1/2 here. The opposite of taking half of something is multiplying it by 2. Yes? The opposite of taking half of something is multiplying it by 2. So I'm going to multiply by a negative 2 on each side because I want the negative to go away as well. So negative times negative makes it positive. Negative times negative makes it positive. So my arc DF is going to be equal to 40 degrees. Okay? So if it's in the center of the circle, it's equal to the arc. If its vertex is on the circle, it's half of the arc that it intercepts. If it's 2 lines intercepting inside the circle, it's half the sum. And if it's 2 intercepting on the outside, it's half the difference. So move it back a little bit so you make sure you got all that. Okay? So if it's a central angle, it's equal to its arc. If it's inscribed, vertex is on the circle, like on these 2, it's half the arc. If it's inside the circle, it's half the sum. If it's outside the circle, it's half the difference. Okay, so make sure you have this down and I'll tell you which ones are like what. Okay, so stuff that we talked about up here is stuff you'll use for number 1. Okay, that's just really loud and crunchy. Stuff we kind of talked about here is what you'll use for number 2. No, not number 2. Scratch that. Number 4. Okay. Let's see. I'm just gonna. All right. So we got this one's like number what?
1.
You're going to use stuff from here for number 1. You're going to use stuff from here for number 4. You're going to use stuff from both of these for number 6 and 7. Okay. You're going to use stuff from this one for number 5. Okay. And then we're going to use, you're going to use stuff from this one for number 8. You're going to use stuff from, also you're going to use this back for number 8. Let's see. And then number 9, you're going to use stuff from this one. Okay. So what I'm going to do is make sure you have those down. And what we're going to try to do is I want you to at least start on some of these problems that I've already told you up here. So we're going to move the camera over where you can see the problems on the quiz. I want you to follow those examples, and we're going to try to work on those. And then, like I said, all this week, we're reviewing, we're quizzing, we're reviewing, we're testing. So we're going to be going back and forth. So everybody's got these marked, yes or no? Got here. Y'all, you can unmute yourselves to answer me. We've talked about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you got 1 and 5, 4 and 8. These are like what you use for 6 and 7. So you'll notice I don't have anything up there yet for number 2 or number 3. That stuff we'll talk about more tomorrow. So don't get dizzy. We're walking across the room. And I don't want anybody getting dizzy as we move around. Okay, so what I want you to try first is on here, we are going to try number 1 and then number 4. Okay, so everyone today should at least be able to try the parts of number 1. Now you'll notice number 1 has 3 parts, and then number 4 down here has 2 parts. So remember, are we doing anything with 2 and 3 yet? We'll cover those up. Everyone try them 1 and 4. Remember, you're working them out on your own paper, and then you're either gonna email me the picture of that or email me your typed out answers. Okay. Can you all see it or no?
I can't miss. It's so blurry for me.
Well, put on glasses.
I have glasses on.
Hang on. I'll try to make it closer. Okay. This is the way some people sent work to me and they expected me to read it. I was like, how am I supposed to read that? All right, so let's get where I can put it closer. All right, so we're doing number 1 first, right? Everybody's doing that one?
Yep.
We're just focusing on number 1 right now. Is that closer? Can you see it better?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll work on that one and then we'll switch to number 4. Now remember on here, if I've got 2 smaller arcs and I want to know the whole thing, what am I going to do with the 2 smaller ones?
Combine them.
Yep, you just add them together.
Mm.
So I think that's what you need to do for part A, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So give you like another couple minutes for that one, then we're doing number 4. You all about ready to go 4?
No.
Yeah. 1 minute. Okay. Are we mostly done with number 1?
Nope.
Not yet.
Well, yeah. Or number 4, and then I'll switch back. Sliding. Here. All right, everybody at least be able to finish 1 and 4, so. And hopefully number 5 today. Now remember, number 4 is shorter. You have angle 1 and angle 2. They're both vertex on the circle. So they're equal to half of the arc that they intersect. So angle 1 is going to be equal half of this big arc up at the top. And then angle 2 will be half of this big arc from here to its other side on the bottom. So you may have to do some adding. You may have to do some subtracting from 360 before you can divide stuff in half. Javier, why are you waving paper at the screen?
I'm just trying to look for how to do it.
You look like you were like surrendering or something.
Let's see. There we go.
All right, does everybody have 1 and 4? Yes, no? Like I said, I want everybody to at least try to kind of get through 1, 4, and 5. And what I may do is I may try to scan this in and email it to you as well so you can work on them. But you have to send me your answers. Oh, it's sliding. Remember what I want? I want everybody to have tried 1, 4, and then 5, which is here at the top. Now 5 uses a lot of the inscribed angle stuff. The angle is equal to half the arc it intercepts. Okay, so J. So has everybody at least tried to see what you can? And I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to scan it in, and then I'll email it to you as well, okay? That'd be easier for y'all to see them? If I email them to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's going to be the plan, is I'm going to try to go scan them in, and I'll email them to you during lunch. But I want everybody to at least make sure that they have answered which ones.
1, 4.
1, 4, and 5.
At least 1, 4, and 5. I would go ahead and try 6, 7, 8, and 9 if you can, but you at least need to have 1, 4, and 5 done.
Yep.
So sometime today, after I send out the email with the questions again, you should be able to email answers to 1, 4, and 5. Okay? But I'm going to go, and after I get off here, I'll go and Mr. Pelham help me scan it in so I can email it to you. Javier, put the scissors away. Lord help us. Okay. All right. And then Karnaya, I'll email it to Kaya too. So it may be that you'll just have to try to maybe send, I don't know, help her with her notes or something. I don't know what we'll do. I'm going to have to try to see why it wouldn't let her log in. Because if she was using the right ID and password, I'm not sure, but we'll work on that. Okay. So make sure you've still been working on finishing the Chapter 8 review in the book if you haven't already done so, because we're still going to be talking about that too, and I'll get these sent to you so you can work on trying to do some of these on your quiz this afternoon. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
See everybody tomorrow, and then by then everybody should have this in front of them so they won't have to try to see it on here.
Okay.
All right. Bye. See you at 11. Check
Bye.
in about 30 minutes.
Okay.